The strange light in the woods. Jake was a quiet man. He lived near the edge of a small town, close to a thick forest. People in the town called him strange. He didn't talk much. He liked walking alone in the woods, far from noise, far from people. One evening, just before sunset, Jake took his usual walk. The air was cool and the trees stood silent. But that night, something was different. As he walked deeper into the forest, he saw a light. Not from the sky, not from a flashlight. It was a soft, blue glow floating between the trees, like it was calling him. Jake stopped. He had never seen anything like it. The light moved slowly, deeper into the woods. His heart beat faster. Every part of his mind said, turn back. But his feet didn't listen. Something pulled him forward. He followed. The blue light grew brighter. The trees opened into a small clearing, and there he saw it, a crashed pod. It was round, smooth, and shining with small lights. Steam hissed from broken parts. He stepped closer. The air smelled like burnt metal. Inside the pod, through a cracked window, he saw something move. He opened the hatch. Inside was a creature, not human. It was tall, with silver skin and long arms. Its eyes were dark and deep, full of pain. The alien lay on the floor, breathing slowly. In her arms, she held a small bundle wrapped in strange cloth. The alien mother looked at Jake. Her voice was weak, almost broken, but she spoke. Please help him. Jake's body froze. His brain screamed that this wasn't real, but his heart felt something, fear, sadness, and something else, trust. He stepped inside and knelt beside her. What happened to you? He asked. She lifted the small bundle. Inside, a tiny creature stared at Jake with wide, glowing eyes. A baby. It looked like her, silver skin, soft hands, and fear in its eyes. They are coming, she whispered. Hide, protect the child. Jake nodded slowly. Okay, he said, I'll take care of him. The alien smiled just a little. Then, with shaking hands, she reached for something on her chest. It was a glowing crystal, pulsing with light. She placed it on Jake's chest. Gift for him, for you, she said. The crystal melted into Jake's skin. Pain shot through his body. His head spun and his eyes turned white. For a second, he fell back, gasping. The alien mother took one last breath, and then she was still. Jake lay on the floor, holding the alien baby in his arms. He couldn't think. His chest burned. Where the crystal entered, his hands shook, but the baby didn't cry. It looked at him like it knew him. He picked it up gently and ran. The woods were dark now. The blue light was gone. Only silence followed. He reached his tent near the river and placed the baby inside a warm blanket. He sat down, trying to breathe, trying to understand what just happened. He whispered to himself. Then he heard a voice. Not from outside. Not from the baby. From inside his mind. Safe for now. Jake jumped. Who's there? Me, the voice said. Thank you. He looked at the baby. Its eyes were closed. But Jake knew the voice came from him. Jake didn't sleep that night, not even for a second. Asterisk. As the first light of morning touched the sky, Jake stepped outside his tent. Birds chirped. The forest seemed normal again, but something above caught his eye. A dark shape moved across the clouds, smooth, fast, silent. It stopped above him, a black drone. Its red eye glowed. Then it flew away. Jake looked down at the baby and realized this was just the beginning. Asterisk. Voices in the min. Jake hadn't slept all night. How could he? A dead alien had just given him her child. A crystal had entered his chest, and now a voice was speaking inside his mind. He sat near the river, staring at the baby alien wrapped in a blanket. The sky was gray. Cold wind touched his skin. But inside him, something was burning, a soft glow, deep under his ribs. He placed a hand on his chest. Nothing, no wound, no scar, no sign that anything had entered, but he could feel it like it was alive. Why me? Jake asked quietly. The baby opened its glowing eyes and looked at him. You listened, said the voice in his head, soft, young, almost like a child learning to speak. Jake jumped. You're talking to me? The baby blinked. Then the voice came again. I speak, not with mouth, not with sound. I speak with your thoughts. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. Okay, he whispered. So, you're inside my head? Just my voice, it replied. The gift connects us. Jake stood up and began to pace. The forest was waking up around him, birds, trees, the sound of running water. But Jake didn't feel peace. He felt watched, hunted. His mind flashed back to the black drone he saw above the trees. It had scanned him. It knew. He packed quickly, food, water, tools, and wrapped the baby in a thick jacket. He didn't know where to go, but he knew he couldn't stay. He walked fast through the woods, keeping low, eyes always scanning the sky. Every branch snap made his heart race. After 2 hours, he reached an abandoned cabin, old wood, broken windows. No one had lived there for years. Perfect. He placed the baby on a small mattress and sat beside it. What are you? He asked. I am Kyo, the voice said. She was my mother. Now, your guardian. What was that thing she put in me? The crystal, it is a seed, said Kyo. It listens, it protects. It grows. Jake didn't understand. A seed? What kind of seed? Ancient. From my people. Only a few exist. Made in war. Made to survive. Suddenly, Jake felt pain shoot through his head. Images flashed, fast, bright. Painful, he saw fire, a planet burning, cities falling into the sky. Alien ships fighting each other in space. He saw Kyo's mother running. Hiding, protecting her child. Then darkness. Then earth. He fell to the floor, gasping. The baby cried softly. Jake opened his eyes. Sweat ran down his face. What did you just do to me? Memory, not yours, hers, Kyo said. You needed to see. Jake sat up slowly. His hands were shaking. They were escaping war. They were losing. Yes, the enemy followed. Her, they want me. They want the seed inside you. Why? Jake asked. Because it holds the map. To the last weapon. Jake froze. Weapon? What kind of weapon? The kind that ends worlds. The cabin suddenly felt smaller, the air heavier. Jake stood and looked outside. The trees were silent. No birds, no wind. They're coming, aren't they? Yes. Suddenly, Jake heard something, a soft hum. Not from the forest, from inside the cabin. He turned. The seed in his chest began to glow. Faint blue light leaked through his shirt. The baby was glowing. Then, a loud thump on the roof. Jake grabbed a metal rod from the floor. Another thump. Then. Silence. He stepped outside slowly. Nothing. He turned back. A man stood in front of him. Black coat. Pale skin, eyes like glass. You have something that doesn't belong to you, the man said coldly. Jake didn't answer. The child and the seed, both are property of the Dominion. Who are you? Jake asked. A messenger, he said. Give them to me, or die. Jake didn't move. The man raised his hand. A device glowed in his palm. Suddenly, Jake's head felt like it was splitting open. He dropped to his knees. But then, the seed responded. A burst of light shot from Jake's chest and hit the man like a hammer. He flew backwards into a tree, unconscious. Jake gasped for breath. The glow faded. He crawled back into the cabin and picked up Kyo. The baby's eyes were full of light. You fought back, Kyo said. Double quotes. No, Jake whispered. The seed did. You are changing. The gift is waking up. Jake sat against the wall, heart pounding. What happens now? You run, you hide, you learn, and when time comes, you fight. That night, as Jake and Kyo hid deep in the forest, a new signal pulsed from the sky. High above Earth, in the dark, cold silence of space, a giant ship turned. Lights glowed red. And a voice said, the human has the seed, prepare the hunters. The hunt begins. 3 days had passed since Jake escaped the man in black, 3 long, cold days hiding in the mountains with the alien baby, Kyo. The forest was quiet to quiet. No birds, no bugs, even the wind felt nervous. Every night, Jake had the same dream, fire falling from the sky, cities crumbling, Kyo screaming. And a voice saying, you must protect the key. He didn't know what the key was, or how to protect it. But he knew one thing, they were coming for them. They moved during the night now. Sleeping during the day, hiding under fallen trees and rocks, Jake's chest still glowed faintly. He wrapped it with bandages and old cloth, but the light always came back. Especially when danger was near. Kyo was growing fast, not in size, but in power. He could float small stones with his mind. He could fix broken tech without touching it. And he could now speak more clearly through Jake's thoughts. Someone follows us, Kyo said one evening. Jake looked up. The forest was still. Are you sure? Yes. They hide like shadows, but I feel them. Jake nodded. He had felt it too, that cold feeling on the back of his neck, the sense of being watched. He picked up his bag and lifted Kyo into his jacket. Then we move. They walked through the night, deeper into the forest than ever before. The trees became strange, taller, darker. Some looked like they were burned from the inside. Suddenly, Kyo whispered, stop. Jake froze. In the distance, between the trees, stood a tall figure, not human. The figure had long metal arms and no face. Its body was black and smooth like armor. Red lights blinked across its chest. It moved without sound. What is that? Jake asked. A hunter, said Kyo. They send them to find lost tech and kill anyone who carries it. The hunter turned its head. Red eyes scanned the trees. Then it looked straight at Jake. He didn't wait. He ran. Branches slapped his face. The wind screamed past him. Behind him, he heard a low hum, the sound of the hunter's power core charging. A red beam shot past Jake's head, burning a tree into ash. Jake ran faster, heart pounding, lungs burning. He didn't know where he was going, only that he had to keep Kyo safe. But the hunter was faster. Another blast hit the ground in front of him. Jake tripped and fell, crashing into the dirt. He turned over, ready to shield Kyo with his body. The hunter stepped into view, arm raised. A red light charged at its fingertips. But before it could fire, a bolt of blue lightning hit it from the side, throwing it into a tree. Jake blinked. A new figure walked into the clearing. Human, or close to it, armor made of old metal and cloth. A helmet covered their face. They raised a strange rifle and fired again. Blue energy wrapped the hunter like chains, holding it in place. The stranger looked at Jake. Get up. They said, we don't have much time. They ran together, far from the clearing, until the forest opened into a hidden cave. Inside, lights flickered on. It wasn't natural. Someone had built this place. Who are you? Jake asked. The stranger took off their helmet. It was a woman, rough face, scar on her cheek, eyes like steel. My name's Lena, she said. I've been tracking that thing for days. Lucky for you. I found you first. You knew it was after me. I know what you carry, she said. I've seen that glow before. She looked at Kyo, and I know what he is. Jake stepped back. I'm not giving him up. Lena raised her hands. I'm not here to take him. I'm here to help you survive. Later that night, around a fire, Jake told her everything, the alien mother, the crystal, the voice, the dreams. Lena listened quietly. Then she said, you don't know what you're part of, do you? Jake shook his head. 30 years ago, she said, something crashed on Earth, a ship, only a few saw it. I was a kid. My father found the wreck. He took a piece of it, and men came for him, men with no faces. Like the one you saw, they took him, she whispered, and he never came back. She looked at Jake. I've spent my life hunting them, learning their tech, trying to find out what they want, and now, she said, you bring me a child who speaks through thoughts, and a living weapon buried in your chest. Kyo looked up. The seed is more than a weapon, it is a message, and a choice. Jake turned to him. What choice? To give Earth a future, or see it fall like mine? Before anyone could speak, the lights in the cave flickered. Lena stood up fast. They found us. A loud roar came from outside, like a storm made of metal. A second hunter had arrived. This one was larger, faster, smarter. And it was not alone. Outside the cave, trees split in half as two hunters stepped through the woods. Above them, in the dark sky, a ship hovered, silent and black. A new voice echoed across the forest. Subject 117 has been located. Begin extraction. Inside the cave, the glow in Jake's chest brightened. His hands shook. The seed was waking up again. And this time, it was angry. The awakening. Jake had never been so close to death. Outside the cave, the hunters moved with deadly speed. Machines, half alive, with red glowing eyes and weapons humming like thunder. One of them was scanning the air. It was tracking the energy from Jake's chest, the alien seed. Inside, the walls trembled with each step of the enemy. Jake stood frozen, holding Kyo close. Lena was loading her weapon fast, her face calm but her hands shaking. We can't fight them head on, she said. Not both. Then how do we escape? Jake asked. Before she could answer, the ceiling cracked. Dust fell. A red beam burned through the stone and struck the floor just meters from them. The hunters were breaking in. Run, Lena shouted. They grabbed their things and sprinted into the deeper tunnel behind the cave. It was tight, dark, and steep. They moved fast, every breath loud in their ears. Behind them, the sound of metal claws on stone echoed louder with each second. Kyo suddenly cried out in Jake's arms, not in fear, in pain. The glow in Jake's chest began to pulse stronger. He dropped to his knees. His whole body was burning. His skin shimmered with light. His blood felt like fire. Images, not his, flooded his mind. Alien stars, lost planets, codes, memories. Machines waking from sleep. He screamed. Outside the physical world, something ancient unlocked. The seed inside Jake was no longer sleeping. It was learning. It reached into Jake's cells, his bones, his thoughts. It didn't ask for permission. It merged. Back in the tunnel, Lena turned back and saw Jake on the ground. He was glowing now. His skin showed traces of alien markings. Blue lines ran across his arms and neck. Kyo stepped down and placed a tiny hand on Jake's forehead. It is time, Kyo said. He is ready. Ready for what? Lena asked. Before Kyo could answer, the hunters broke through the wall behind them. Jake opened his eyes. They were glowing white. He stood up slowly. He didn't speak. He moved out faster than human. He stepped forward, lifted his hand, and the tunnel itself responded. Blue light formed in his palm, like liquid energy, swirling in patterns older than the earth. He threw it forward. The blast struck the first hunter, throwing it into the wall so hard it shattered like glass. The second hunter fired a red beam. Jake raised his arm and caught it. Caught a laser. It bent in his palm like it was nothing. Lena stared in shock. What are you? She whispered. Jake looked back at her. His voice was calm, but deep, like it echoed from another place. I don't know, not yet. They escaped through the old tunnel out into a narrow mountain pass. High cliffs on both sides, a sharp drop below. Wind howled around them. Behind them, more machines were coming. Jake stood at the edge. Get across, he said. Double quotes. How? Lena asked. It's a drop. Kyo raised a hand. Blue light formed beneath their feet, like a bridge made of energy, forming Step by step. Lena grabbed Jake's arm. This isn't human. Jake looked at her. Neither is what's hunting us. They ran across. Just as they reached the other side, the bridge vanished. The next hunter stepped forward and fell screaming into the abyss below. For now, they were safe. They found an old bunker hidden deep in the rocks. Lena had known about it from an old rebel map. It was dusty, cold, but safe. Filled with broken tech and alien parts. Inside, Jake sat down, breathing heavy. His glow was fading. But something had changed. His senses were sharper, his thoughts clearer. The world around him felt slower, like time itself listened to him. Now, what happened to me? He asked. Kyo sat across from him, tiny hands folded. You are now linked. The seed chose you, not just to protect me, to become something more. More? Our people called it Vethinner, the bonded. Human and alien, memory and blood, strength and soul. So I'm not just human anymore, Jake asked. No, you are something new. Jake looked down at his hands. He could feel the power there, resting, waiting. Why me? He asked. Because you listened, you stopped, you helped. My mother saw that. And trusted you with the last hope of our kind. Lena stepped forward. You need to understand something, she said. This isn't just about saving a child or saving yourself. She turned on an old projector. A star map lit up the room. Dozens of worlds were marked red. Destroyed, missing, burned. They're not just hunting you, Lena said. They're preparing for something. I've seen signs, secret signals in old tech. Weapon pieces buried in Earth's crust. This is part of something bigger, something global. You think they're planning an attack? Jake asked. I think it's already begun. Suddenly, the bunker lights flickered. A new signal appeared on the projector, a blinking red dot. What's that? Jake asked. Lena looked closer. A beacon, alien tech, broadcasting from under the ocean, far off the coast. Kyo stood up. The last weapon, he said. My mother hid it there. A weapon? Jake said. What kind of weapon? Kyo looked at him, eyes glowing faintly. The kind that can end worlds or save them. As they watched the red signal blink far away, deep under the sea, something ancient began to stir. Giant machines, silent for centuries, began to hum. Codes activated. Circuits warmed. And in the darkness, something opened one red eye. A voice whispered, target, seed carrier, prepare extraction, begin protocol extinction. Asterisk. The hidden message. The ocean was endless. Deep, dark, cold, hiding things far older than human memory. Jake stood at the edge of an abandoned military dock, staring out at the water. The sky was gray, the wind sharp. Beside him stood Lena, checking her weapon. Behind them, Kyo sat inside a small shuttle they had borrowed from an old airfield. It was alien in design, but buried on Earth long ago, a gift from the past, hidden in plain sight. They were heading to a place few had ever seen, a sealed vault, buried deep beneath the sea, where Kyo's mother had hidden something she called the last weapon. But what kind of weapon? And why did Jake feel like opening it might change the world forever? As the shuttle dove under the waves, Jake felt the pressure rise around them. Thick steel groaned, sea creatures darted through the dark like shadows. Lights flickered as they passed into deeper layers. What are we about to find? Jake asked quietly. Kyo sat still, hands in his lap. Truth, that's not comforting. It's not supposed to be. After an hour of silence, the shuttle reached a trench. Then the light, a massive stone door appeared in the darkness, circular, covered in glowing alien runes. As they approached, the seed inside Jake's chest began to glow brighter than ever. The runes on the door lit up in response, as if recognizing him. It's responding to you, Lena said. Kyo nodded. Only the bonded can open it. Jake stepped forward and placed his hand on the door. The runes pulsed. Then the door began to spin, slowly unlocking. A low hum filled the ocean. Metal parted. A path opened. They had arrived inside the vault. The walls were smooth and silver, humming with energy. But it was not just a chamber, it was a tomb, a library, and a message in time. All at once. At the center stood a tall crystal suspended in air, rotating slowly. It was the memory core, the last recorded message of Kyo's mother. As they entered, the crystal glowed. A projection formed. And there she was. Taller than before, her silver skin shining, her eyes full of sadness, yet hope. If you are seeing this, I am gone. Her voice was soft, clear, and full of something Jake hadn't heard in a long time. Truth, I was a scientist of the Valari. I created life, energy, peace, but the Dominion turned it all into war. Our cities burned, our stars fell, we lost everything. She looked down in the recording, as if remembering something painful. My son Kyo is not just a child, he is a vessel. Inside him is the seed code to awaken the last weapon. A sentient machine that can either protect or destroy. Jake and Lena looked at each other. This vault holds the command key to that machine, but it can only be accessed by a bonded one who carries the seed and chooses peace over power. She looked straight at Jake. If you are the one holding him now, then you already chose to help, not to harm. That is why I chose you. The projection faded, the room fell silent. Jake stepped forward and placed his hand on the crystal. A pulse of energy filled the vault. The floor shifted, revealing a second chamber below. They climbed down a spiral staircase until they reached it, a giant pod. Round, silent, and covered in glowing armor. Lena's mouth opened in shock. Is that the weapon? Kyo stepped forward, not just a weapon, a guardian, a living mind. Built to protect worlds, but never used, too dangerous. Jake touched it. A voice echoed through the vault, identity confirmed, seed bearer. Present awaiting activation. What happens if we activate it? Jake asked. Then it wakes, said Kyo, and chooses. Chooses what? Whether we are worth saving or not. Before they could decide, the vault lights flickered. Red lights. A new signal entered the chamber. They found us, Lena said. Above, in the ocean, something massive was moving, above the vault. 3 black ships arrived, shaped like blades. Hunters swam alongside them, dozens, maybe more. They had tracked the energy burst from Jake's seed. Inside the lead ship, a new figure stepped forward. Not machine, not human. Something in between. Tall, armored in black and red, eyes hidden behind a smooth mask. This was the extractor. The one who collected seed bearers and wiped their worlds clean. Target confirmed. The extractor said. Proceed with breach, no survivors. Back inside the vault, we have to decide, Jake said. Do we activate it or not? Lena pointed to the ceiling. We don't have a choice. If we don't, they take everything. Jake looked at Kyo. Kyo nodded once. Do it. Jake placed both hands on the pod. The seed in his chest exploded with light. The pod shuddered. The walls began to shake. A voice filled the chamber. Guardian protocol unlocked. Scanning user memory, analyzing threat level, calibrating. The pod opened. Light flooded the room. A massive being stepped out, 10 feet tall, made of silver and blue. With wings of energy and eyes like burning stars. The Guardian was awake. It looked at Jake. You carry the pain of 2 worlds, it said. You were given a choice. And I choose to fight, Jake said. Then you are worthy. The vault exploded upward in a pillar of light. Above, in the ocean. The extractor raised a hand, but too late. The Guardian launched out of the sea like a missile of energy, breaking through ships like paper. The hunters scattered. The sky lit up. And the war for Earth had truly begun. The choicest oceans still boiled from the battle. High above the waves, smoke curled into the sky. Pieces of black alien ships rained down like dying stars. The Guardian hovered in the air, glowing with power, his wings stretched wide, crackling with energy. Jake stood on the edge of the broken vault, holding Kyo in his arms. He had never seen power like this before. The Guardian had destroyed the hunter fleet in minutes. Unstoppable, precise, terrifying. But now, the sky was quiet again. To quiet. Lena stood beside him, bruised and bleeding from the fight. Is it over? She asked. Jake shook his head. No, he whispered. This was just the first wave. Deep inside the wreckage of the enemy command ship, something moved. The extractor was still alive. Its armor was cracked. Its mask shattered, revealing part of a human face beneath. Jake had assumed it was machine. He was wrong. This was once a man, and not just any man, a former bonded, someone who had carried the seed before. But he had chosen destruction over protection. And now, he wanted the seed back. In the days that followed, Jake and the others went into hiding. They found an old underground base, human-made, long abandoned. Lena worked to repair old systems, and the Guardian rested beneath a massive chamber, slowly absorbing solar energy. Kyo grew quieter. His mind seemed far away. He often sat near the sleeping Guardian, whispering things in a language Jake couldn't understand. When Jake finally asked him about it, Kyo said one word: preparation. One night, while the others slept, Jake woke to a voice. Not Kyo. Not the Guardian. The extractor. You feel the pull, don't you? The voice echoed inside his mind. Jake gasped and clutched his chest. The seed inside him was pulsing wildly. You're changing more than you understand. Soon, the choice must be made. Get out of my head, Jake growled. She gave you the seed, but not the truth. Suddenly, Jake saw flashes, memory fragments that weren't his. Kyo single quotes as mother, hiding in secret, meeting another bonded, the man who would become the extractor. They had once loved each other, trusted each other. Then he betrayed them all. He tried to use the seed to control the Guardian, but the Guardian rejected him, and he was cast out. Left with nothing except hate. When Jake awoke the next morning, the base had gone dark. Kyo was gone. Lena was wounded, unconscious, barely breathing, and the Guardian was frozen in place. Something had shut it down. A signal. A traitor's signal. Jake followed Kyo's trail through the mountains, across burned forests and abandoned towns. Hours passed, then a day, then to dot until he found him standing at the edge of an old spaceport. Now broken and half buried in sand. Waiting. Not afraid. Why? Did you run? Jake asked. Kyo didn't turn around. He came to me, he said quietly. The extractor? He said he was once like you, that he was betrayed by her, by my mother. You can't trust him. I don't, but I needed to know the truth. What truth? Kyo turned. That the seed is not one gift, it's two, one inside you, and one inside me. Jake froze. You're saying you're carrying a seed too? Yes, but mine is older and unstable. My mother split the core in two. She gave you the key to awaken and gave me the key to destroy. Destroy what? Kyo looked up at the stars. Everything. Before Jake could reply, the ground shook. The extractor appeared from the sky. Flying without a ship, wrapped in dark energy, his armor had changed, his voice was deeper. He had fused with shadow tech, a forbidden system that drew power from pain and memory. You've come far, he said. But you're not ready for the final choice. What choice? Jake shouted. To save the boy or save the world. The extractor lifted a black device, a beacon. If activated, it would release a signal to a dormant fleet hidden near the moon, a fleet powerful enough to erase Earth in one strike. If you fight me, the extractor said, I'll activate the beacon. The fleet will come and Earth will burn. He looked at Kyo. But if you give me the child and both seed cores, I will leave this world. Jake clenched his fists. You're lying. No, the extractor said. I'm offering you peace. He raised the beacon, waiting. One signal, one click. The final decision. Jake looked at Kyo. The boy was calm. I'm ready, he said softly. If this is the end, let it be the right one. But Jake couldn't choose. He had protected Kyo since the forest. He had fought, bled, changed. But now, to save the world, he might have to give him up. His heart cracked. There has to be another way, the extractor laughed. There's only ever one way. Suddenly, the Guardian's voice echoed in Jake's head. There is always another way, but it requires sacrifice. What do I have to do? Jake asked. Merge the seeds within your body, both keys, one mind, one soul. The full seed will awaken a power that can erase shadow tech forever, but it will cost you everything. Jake turned to Kyo. The boy nodded. Double quotes, I trust you. They stepped forward. Kyo touched Jake's chest. A shock of light burst through them both. The extractor screamed, nitrogen monoxide. Light exploded across the desert. Sky tore open. The seeds merged. Jake fell to his knees, glowing, screaming, vanishing into light. His body no longer his own. A new being rose from the flames, part man, part alien, part guardian, and the voice that spoke was not Jake's, but something ancient, powerful, and final. You were warned, this world will not burn today. The final battle had begun. Asterisk, the last stand. For a moment, time stopped. The earth stood still, the sky held its breath, and everything, every tree, every shadow, every grain of sand was silent. Jake no longer existed as a man. He stood in the center of the battlefield, glowing like a sun made of memory and fire. His body had changed, tall, shining, no longer fully human. Energy flowed through him like rivers of starlight. His eyes were white, and his voice echoed in every direction at once. He had become the vessel of the united seed, the last of its kind, the first of something new. The extractor backed away, his armor sparking. This isn't possible, he whispered. You were supposed to choose. Jake stepped forward, his feet floating inches above the ground. I did, with a wave of his hand. Light burst across the sky, clearing the clouds, pushing back the black mist of the extractor's fleet. Ships in orbit began to lose control. Their engines shut down, systems failed. The seed was rewriting everything, even the enemy's code. Lena, barely holding herself up, watched from the ruined bunker far behind the field. Tears filled her eyes. She didn't fully understand what was happening, but she knew one thing. Jake had become the weapon they were trying to stop. But instead of destroying the world, he was protecting it. Do you think this is over? The extractor snarled. Do you think light always wins? His shadow tech flared. His armor grew spikes, wings, shapes that twisted unnaturally. He screamed. His body ripped open and something crawled out. It was no longer human. Not even machine. Pure void. The sky turned black again. Red lightning split the clouds. A dark storm began to fall. The final form of the extractor had come, the harbinger of extinction. Jake turned to Kyo, who stood alone near the fallen guardian. Stay back, Jake said gently. Kyo nodded. Will you come back? He asked. Jake smiled. Just a little, I don't know. Then he rose into the air. Facing the storm, they clashed in the sky like two gods made of stars and nightmare. Light versus shadow. Past versus future. Jake moved like thought, fast, precise, quiet. The extractor attacked like a storm, wild, brutal, unstoppable. Cities trembled beneath them. Oceans shifted. People across the planet looked up and saw the battle, not just with their eyes, but in their minds, because the seed was no longer Hiding. It was broadcasting hope. Lena crawled to the communication panel. If anyone can hear me, she said, you are not alone. Someone is fighting for you. Someone who was once just a man in the heart of the battle. Jake was struggling. His power was vast, but not endless. The extractor had no soul left to burn. Only purpose, to erase, to devour, to win. You can't hold this power forever, the extractor growled. Your body is still human underneath, maybe. Jake said, but my heart isn't. With his last burst of strength, Jake pushed the extractor into orbit. Into the cold silence above the world. There, among the stars, they clashed for the final time. Jake saw everything: his old house, his quiet walks in the forest, the night. He found KIO. The voice in his head. The mother's final breath. The promise. Protect him. Now. That promise would cost everything. As the extractor raised his blade one last time, Jake didn't stop him. Instead, Jake opened his chest, letting the full power of the seed burn outward. In a brilliant flash. Not as a weapon. As a message. The extractor struck, but the blade passed through nothing because Jake was already gone. Only light remained, and then silence. The aftermath passed. The sky cleared. The enemy fleet fell from the stars like broken statues. Around the world, machines powered down. Shadow tech crumbled into dust. The world was safe, but Jake was gone. Or so they thought. In the quiet ruins of the old forest, Kyo stood beside Lena. They had rebuilt a small shelter. A place to remember. A place to begin again. He's really gone, Lena said, placing her hand on Kyo's shoulder. Kyo nodded, his body, yes, but not his voice. He closed his eyes. Inside his mind, a whisper echoed, I kept my promise. Later that night, as the stars returned to the sky, a small orb of light floated over the river where it all began. It pulsed once, then disappeared into the wind. Years passed. Kyo grew older, wiser, stronger. But he never forgot Jake. The world changed slowly, carefully, with peace. People discovered strange new tech buried under the ground. Pieces left behind from Jake's final awakening. And all across the sky, signals echoed from deep space. Not warnings. Invitations. Because somewhere far away, something had seen what Jake did. Something had listened. And one day they would return. Not to destroy. But to meet the world he died to save. The end.